The Syrian opposition has called on the UN to hold an emergency meeting to discuss an attack in the city of Hama by government forces, which they believe killed at least 70 people.
The Syrian government says only 16 people were killed and the cause of the tragedy was the premature explosion of a terrorist bomb. Foreign Affairs editor Peter Cave reports.
Hama in central Syria, the crowd chants "God is great" as they carry the body of a young girl killed in a massive explosion which demolished an apartment block in the restive city. Earlier this week, the UN deployed 2 of its unarmed monitors to Hama to investigate claims of summary execution following shelling there which killed at least 20 civilians and wounded 60. And this is Douma, a suburb of Damascus. Under the ceasefire, troops and heavy armoured vehicles are supposed to have been withdrawn from urban areas like this. Activists say these are civilians suspected of being opposed to the government being rounded up and detained by pro-government militias. The handful of blue-helmeted UN monitors can do little other than move from one trouble spot to another, showing that they're there.
We have a role of de-escalating the situation. We do that, and we did that yesterday in Douma by maintaining our presence on the ground, patrolling the area for a good number of hours through our liaison activities. So this was the focus of our attention from the team in Damascus yesterday, which went to Douma.
The Syrian opposition says the deployment of monitors is far too slow and must be speeded up, and that the ceasefire is meaningless while troops and tanks remain in urban areas.
We understood that ceasing fire meant to withdraw heavy armed vehicles from all cities to be sent back to the barracks. If there's any other interpretation of the meaning of a ceasefire, it will be the regime's view, not ours. But the regime is incredible.
A delegation from the Syrian opposition has been meeting in Paris with the French Foreign Minister Alain Juppé.
We think that Annan's plan is destined to failure because we know what the Syrian regime is doing now and how it defies even the will of the international community. We think that the announcement of this failure will be soon. So what's next?
France believes the answer to that may have to be the use of force by the UN.
Either this mediation works or it doesn't. And if it doesn't work, we cannot continue to allow ourselves to be ignored by the regime in place, which has adhered to none of the 6 points of the Kofi Annan plan. We'd have to move into a new phase.
Human rights groups say that almost 400 people have now died since the so-called ceasefire came into force. Peter Cave, ABC News.
And we witnessed a bit of history there, potentially. That could be Peter Cave's last story for the ABC. He has been filling in our Middle East bureau for some months now. He is leaving there to come back to Australia early next week, and he has, of course, some time ago announced he is retiring from the ABC after decades of illustrious service, largely as a foreign correspondent by the middle of the year.
What do you think he's going to do in retirement?
Oh, he'll find plenty of things to do, probably ringing up and critiquing various foreign news on the ABC. But it does bring to an end a career of a great correspondent and, just as importantly, a really good bloke as well.